We are now with the Juvenile Court, and I would note that Councilmember Bill Pridemore, the Chair of Budget and Finance, is with us. And Your Honor, Judge Sheila Calloway, please introduce yourself and introduce your colleagues and make any statement you'd like to make.
Thank you. I'd like to first start off saying thank you, Mayor Dean. As I started my career, you were the one that helped me start it up. And, as you announced the rolling, you started me up.
Ding, 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 ding. It was a prize. Say the magic word.
And for many years, you have been just a great boss, a great mentor, and I just thank you for all that you've done. I also thank Deputy Mayor Haino and Mr. Riebling for helping me throughout this last 6 months to get to this point where we are. And I'd just like to thank all of the juvenile court employees. In the last 3 years, they have been through 3 different judges. And that's a lot to ask for a staff. And they have gone through a number of changes, a number of transitions, and they have done it wonderfully. And I just thank the staff tremendously for just supporting me and helping us work through these changes. What I'd like to start talking about is the accomplishments that have been made since I started in office September the 1st. Since that time, as you probably know, we did some restructuring of the administration. And what I did was I hired on Kathy Sinback from Metro Legal. She is the new court administrator. Her role is primarily to make sure that the programs and policies of the court follow the vision and that we're following all the best practices of juvenile court and making this the best juvenile court in the nation. Along with Kathy, I have our Deputy Court Administration for Budget and Finance and Grants. That is Jim Swack. He has been at the court for many years, and he stayed on, and I'm excited about the work that he's doing and the fact that he agreed to stay on in that role. We also brought, brand new for us, our Deputy Court Administrator for Personnel, and that's Tommy Bradley. We stole him, had some sticky finger issues, and we stole him from the criminal court clerk position. He was the deputy criminal court clerk, and he's now serves as our deputy of personnel. That has helped us to streamline a lot of the things that we do, a lot of the internal services that we are providing for our staff and for the clients, and we're excited about that. On top of that restructuring, we are working now to change the way that we do business for juvenile court so that we are following the best practices. And in order to do that, the best practices and evidence-based things, we are making sure that we are preventing problems within the families that are and the children that we have. We are trying our best to promote the positive potential of each of the children that come through our system. And we are working hard to pursue fairness for everyone that comes through our court system. And some of the ways that we have done that is we had the opportunity to have 2 full-day, all-day, full-staff retreats. And in those retreats, each staff person had an opportunity to put in what their decisions were, what their thoughts were about the process and how to make it better. We are now bringing in a new intake team that's primarily made of our clerical staff. Every case, every petition that comes through the court system will start with our intake team. They will make a decision on how to process the petitions. They will then send that information to our new assessment team. This is a brand new team that we've made from existing probation officers. They will assess each and every child and family that come through the system, whether it's a neglect dependent case, whether it's a unruly, a truancy, or a delinquency. They will do an assessment. They will go out into the community, out into the children and families' homes. They'll talk to teachers. They'll talk to just community people that know these children and family and do a CANS assessment. We're working with the Vanderbilt Center of Excellence, as well as a 40 asset test to see what their strengths are. And based on the assessment, they will send that information to our new SIA team. The SIA team is our support, intervention, and accountability team. So we no longer are just focusing on probation, but we're focusing on providing support, intervention, and accountability for all of the children and families that come through the system. They're going to work with our new STAR team, which stands for Statistics, Training, Analysis, and Resources. That team's main focus is to make sure that the resources that are in the community, that we're using them and that we're using them well. They're going to go out into the community to make sure that the programs that we are referring people to really are doing what they say they're going to do, and they're really focused on treating the children that we have. So within that new structure, our hope is, and our belief is that we will be able to prevent the number of delinquency cases. I think, Mayor Dean, you know well that if we don't start often and early, that those are the cases that end up being in the delinquent system. And so we want to be able to provide these assessments, the case plans for the SIA team in order that we can eliminate the number of cases that are in the delinquency system. We're excited about it. We're also doing some changes with our youth court, our community team. We have a new team that's designated to the youth courts. We now are in 4 different high schools: Antioch, Whites Creek, McGavick, and Cane Ridge, which is the first one that we started at. And they are actually doing real cases. The students at the youth court in the high schools are hearing the cases. They are acting as every part of the court system: the attorneys, the prosecutor, the bailiffs, the clerks, and they are making decisions amongst their peers on what should happen to a case. And it's been very successful, and we're excited about it, and we're hoping to expand that soon. We also have a new, that was within our budget, a new position where we have one individual that's working on grants, and she's working with Jim Swack, and she's working to find things out there that we can use to help to achieve the goals that we have to make a difference. And we are working with Metro Nashville Public Schools with our Metro Student Attendance Center to revamp that, to make sure that we are providing services for those children who are truant and having issues with going to school on a regular basis. So that's the beginning of these restructuring phases. We are excited about it. We've put a lot of work in and a lot of time, and we are ready to make a difference in the way that we present our cases and we handle the things that we do in juvenile court. We are also actively working with Human Resources of Metro. We want to give a special shout out to Veronica Frazier and Patrick Kennedy and their staff for all of the help that they've given us, along with the finance department, Talia and her staff. Mr. Riebling, your people have been amazing for us. They have taken the time to come over to our office to meet with us, to talk about some of the issues that we have. Some of the things that we are working on is trying to reorganize the employee functions that we have. We have a lot of employees that were working in positions that probably weren't a good fit, and we're switching people around, and they have been dynamite in helping us to get through this process. They are also working with us to create some new positions that are within our budget that we can provide these services that we're excited about. And we are working with them to help increase our professional growth potential for the experienced employees. We've had a number of employees that have been with the court for many years that, because the way we did it, you would only get to a different level in your employment, such as like a probation officer 1 or a security warrant officer 1. You can only graduate up to a 2 level if someone resigned or retired and that was an opening and had to be an open announcement. What we're trying to do now is to do a different type of system where after you've served a number of years that you are automatically up to the next level. And so you're not working for 20 years as a probation officer 1, but you can also move up to the probation officer 2 level. You know, our main goals is that we want to do what it takes to reduce the number of children that are referred to the juvenile court system and into the delinquency program. And so we are actively working with community partners, with nonprofit agencies, with our faith-based organizations to provide better partnerships in order to get that done. And we are also working hard to provide more relevant training to our staff so that they are up and ready on our best practices and evidence-based things that we're doing, such as the new assessments. Strategically, we are wanting to make sure that we're maximizing all of our resources. Juvenile court is a statutory agency, and the purpose of juvenile court is found in Tennessee Code Annotated 371-101, and we want to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to stick within the guidelines of what the purpose of juvenile court is. We're also finding that we have a number of non-English speaking participants now. We want to make sure that we are able to provide quality services for our non-English participants as we do for our English speaking participants as well. So we have a lot of strategic issues, a lot of goals, and we are working hard to get there. And so in order to do that, what our needs are, not just our wants, but what our needs are, is that we definitely need 2 additional full-time employees to work in our new assessment division team. We are actually wanting to train 2 individuals, new individuals that could be trained in issues of domestic violence. We have a lot of families that are affected by domestic violence, and as you probably well know, the domestic violence cases don't just affect the 2 individuals that happen to be in the situation, but it really affects the entire family, especially the children. And so we would like to have 2 additional full-time employment persons that are working in our assessment team that are especially trained to do domestic violence cases and that can go into the homes and know exactly what resources and services to put into there. We would also like a full-time employee, a new full-time employee to work out at the Metro Student Attendance Center that is also dedicated to domestic violence cases. Again, as you know, domestic violence affects the whole family, and there have been a number of cases where a child chooses not to go to school because they feel it's important for them to stay home and protect the person who's the victim of the domestic violence. And we need to be able to address that and to put in the necessary resources for that. We also need additional money for mileage reimbursement fund. Now that we have an assessment team, the SIA team, our warrant officers, we have a lot of people that are in the community, which is where we need to be. Juvenile court needs not just to be at the building at 100 Woodland Street, but they need to be out in the community. And in order to do that, we have to pay mileage reimbursement, so we would like some additional funding for that. We currently have a family treatment court and a juvenile youth court, drug court. Both of those courts require a lot of drug testing to make sure that the participants are clean and sober and are on their way to recovery. So we would also, for our budget item, like to have additional support in order to cover the cost of some of the drug screenings. Again, we would also like additional funding to do training for our staff as we do more and more programs that are evidence-based programs. We definitely need our staff to understand exactly what and why, and so we need better training for them as well. And we are working currently with the Administrative Office of the Courts to help with the non-English speaking participants by hiring a full-time employee. In order to do that, Metro would have to supplement some of that. And so we are asking, we definitely need that as well. As to the 3% cuts that Mayor Dean has asked us to submit, as we look through our budget, we could take that 3% cut from 3 current full-time employee positions. 1 would be administrative officer 3, and 2 would be from the IT positions that we have that have been vacant and have not been filled. And so that would be where our 3% cut would come from. Of course, I'm sure no one likes to do a 3% cut. If we did not have to do a 3% cut, those are definitely positions that we need. If we had the ability to do so, we would do it today. We would hire a person to be a victim witness coordinator for the court. We used to have a victim witness coordinator through the district attorney's office. They would only work on cases that were being prosecuted by the district attorney's office. As you well know, we have a number of cases that don't just get prosecuted by the district attorney's office, and we do not have the district attorney's office only on the serious cases are providing victim witness services, but in any other cases, we do not have that. That becomes a problem for a lot of our probation officers because as a person, for instance, a victim, if a child had sticky fingers and a victim stole something and the victim needed restitution, they would have to go through the probation officer, which kind of serves as a conflict for our staff because they're only working with the child for rehabilitation purposes, but they also have to work with the victim in making sure that they are made whole and restored. And so a victim witness coordinator would be a great blessing that we could have in the court. Also, we would like to fill one of the IT positions that are currently vacant. We have a staff of 105 people, and of those 105, 30% are in the field. And so if a computer is down with one of the probation officers, our one sole IT person has to stop the things that they're doing in the courthouse in order to go out into the field to take care of that problem. It affects our productivity. We are becoming more and more technology savvy, and we like to do more services with our technology. And so that position we would definitely like to fill. We would fill that today if we could. So I think I'm very excited. I think the staff is very excited. I know I'm very excited about all the changes and the things that we're asking for, because those are the things that we need, not just because of what we want. But we are excited about the things that are happening. Mayor Dean, I do want to say this has been bittersweet, this process right now. This is exciting to have this opportunity to speak to you as a juvenile court judge and you being the mayor. I know this is our last time in this type of venue, and that makes it a little bittersweet for me. But I thank you, and I welcome any questions at this time.
In terms of the domestic violence requests, how many domestic violence cases do you all handle?
I don't have the exact number of how many domestic violence cases. We have a lot of children that come through, youth and juveniles that come through. A lot of times it's a sibling-on-sibling fight, but that is classified as domestic violence. We also have a lot of parent-child issues as well. But beyond that, just on the delinquent side, beyond that, on the neglect-dependent side, we have a lot of children who are affected by parents who there's a neglect-dependent petition against them because of domestic violence issues. So we have enough cases that would keep at least 2 employees extremely busy on handling all those, because they come not only from delinquency, but they also come from neglect and dependent, as well as our parentage change of custody cases.
And you have 2 employees working on that now?
We don't have any employees working on it now. We would like to have 2 employees working on that.
And then on the positions that are vacant that you've talked about, how long have they been vacant?
There are varying times. The Administrative Office 3 position, I believe, has been vacant for about 6 months. The IT positions have been vacant for probably about a year.
All right, and those positions are frozen, or do you have funds for those?
We currently have funds for those. We have not filled them in anticipation of if we had to do a 3% cut. We would like to fill them.
Just seems to me, just as a thought, I'm just thinking out loud, but if you left those positions vacant, you could do what you wanted to do in these other areas. If you reallocated that money to more service to the public in the domestic violence field, if you think that's important and justified, you leave those positions, you terminate the positions, you don't leave them vacant, you get rid of them, you reuse the money for something else. That would almost cover everything you requested.
That is definitely something we can talk to our
I don't, you don't need to respond. I know I don't, okay. I'm not, but it's just a thought. I don't know if Rich thought of that or not. It just seems to me that we both get what we need and want, because you have what you need, you've identified in terms of your services, and you're not asking for an increase in your budget as a result of that. This is the way sausage is made. All right.
We would definitely appreciate that, and we will take any suggestions on ways that we can get those positions filled. We are looking forward to making sure that we are providing the best services that we can to the community.
Rich, you got any?
Yes, sir.
Correct? Well, you're going to do a great job.
Thank you.
I know you are. And I wish we had more years to have these hearings. This one's been so much fun. We can, but I know you're going to be a wonderful judge. You've already started out strong, and you're a great person, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Got a great bench behind you, a lot of depth there. Good
Thank
folks.
you.
So thank everybody in the court for their hard work, and I'm proud of you. Thanks.
It looked like just almost a second I was going to see a grown man cry, but I guess you made it through. I appreciate your time.
Well, we'll stop there so I don't cry.
Thank you.
Thank you.